Hello.
Yes. Can you see
Great.
me?
Hi. How are you today?
Very well. And you?
Great. Thank you for your time that we can finally make this session happen.
Yes. We knew that it was a curfew and less, not that much activities. So at afternoon we are more free.
And what you are doing, if I can ask, for example, the general day, like classic standard day in your organization.
So we were supplying with food the people that lost their jobs, so they don't have enough money, and also we had some other people from the locals that they need support. And this weekend, because of the Orthodox Easter, it's a holiday, so it's the curfew was from Friday and even today. So even until tomorrow they can go outside. So 3 days being locked, it's little bit long. So we wanted to provide these people that we have on our list with humanitarian aid, so they can um, have food for these 3 or 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
Also provide with the food in the asylum center, because it's also longer weekend there. So we together with the uh, um, bakeries from the old bazaar, because they don't have work and they would like to do something, so they provide something for um, the the families that they don't have, um, the poor ones, and also for the inside the center. So we did it also, and in Friday we gave hot meals for the locals also. And during this weekend, there were some families that we couldn't reach, so we went there to give them with permissions of the authorities. We can go and work outside. So we went to also to visit them, to leave them some of the food packages so they can um, find food.
Okay. So that these are the Macedonian people, and the service is also for refugees? Or how many refugees do you have now, for example, in your country?
Uh, at the moment, the number of people in the asylum center Visbego in Skopje is around 70,
It's a lot.
67, 68, yes. That's not much, but in the past we didn't had so much people. They are in the kind of quarantine there also. They cannot leave except just one member of the family to go to buy something, or one member of the group to go to buy something outside for the others if they have money to buy something more. All other things are provided by the state and the organizations that are working in the asylum center. Um, they're also forbidden to mix to each other the groups and the families, in a way to make this prevention and to take care about their health, because it's very important um, that these people are people who are vulnerable category, and we have to take care about them more, because if the coronavirus spread between refugees, then we will have big problem.
Mm.
Also, not just we, like all the region, maybe all the world. Also, in Tabanovce, in the transit center, the numbers are changing daily. Depends from the people that police will interrupt and catch on the route, that are walking irregularly, and then they send them first in Tabanovce, in the border with Serbia,
Mm.
in this transit center, and then they return them back to Greece mostly. And the South camp in the border with Greece, it's now not transit center, but it's quarantine for asylum seekers, which means that everyone who wants to ask for asylum will be transferred first there to stay a couple of weeks in the quarantine conditions, and then to wait there the permission if he can apply for asylum or not. And if he applies for asylum, then he will be transferred to Skopje in the asylum center.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the situation at Greece, for example, where there are a lot of refugees, and would they try to go to Macedonia and farther to Europe, or do you know something about the situation there,
Um,
if you can say?
I I think that the information about the coronavirus is spread among the refugees also, and most of them want to stay where they are. They don't want to mix with the others in
Mm-hmm.
a way to save their lives and to keep their health. But
Yeah.
we still have some people who want to use this situation in a way to move forward. But if we know that there is a curfew, for example, in Macedonia, in Serbia, in some places in Greece, and the police is more and more present, these people are risking too much because of contact with others, the contact with the police. You don't know who have contacted the police before. It's very risky, but still there are some people who think that this is the best way for them um, to move, which is not true, and they should care about their safety and their health.
Mm.
But not that big number. We don't have the numbers increased like before a couple of like 2 months ago before this corona started. We had up to 200 people that were trying to cross the border from Greece to North Macedonia, and they were caught by the police. And now we don't have that big number of people that the police could um, uh, meet them in a way where they cross the borders or in our territory, which means that most of them they want to stay in the camps in
Mm-hmm.
Greece until everything is calmed down. Especially, they know that most of the camps, for example, in um, Serbia, they're closed, and the army is guarding these camps. Also in Bosnia, the camps are closed. I mean, closed like they cannot enter. New cannot enter, and the people who are there cannot go outside, cannot move. So they probably think that it's not good time to um, to transit through the Balkans. But we have to be aware that there are different types of refugees and migrants.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that they have more money to cross and connections with the smugglers, and the ones then we do have the ones that they just go from place to place and wait for a couple of weeks or months in a new country, and then they try again, because they don't have that much money to pay for all the trip and to go with smugglers. One of the issues of the problems are that you know the economies of the countries are now in very bad position, and the
Mm-hmm.
countries cannot afford that much to take care about them, and they still keep them locked and keep them inside the camps, or they don't care about the ones who are outside of the camps, which is also not good. There should be enough money for these people to take care about their health, their hygiene, and uh, also in a way to prevent the contact with the others. But it's very to know, because until now I haven't heard that any one of the refugees have the disease, is that this disease came or was spread among the people who could easily travel.
Mm-hmm.
The mobility was the one of the biggest transfer of the virus in the countries. And the refugees as a group or the migrants are not in touch with these people, and that's why they don't have this contact, and they didn't have the opportunity to meet them and to take the coronavirus on them, which is also one of the positive things for now.
Yeah, but some kind of media tells that in the camps there are a coronavirus and so on, and that they have very bad conditions. Preferably maybe in
But
Greece, but that's, or here the media are saying that, like that the refugees is how to say, they are dangerous because of the risk they are going here and so on, and because the camps are too small and a lot of people is there and so on. So, so
look,
here it was a
we
big
have to
issue.
know that in these moments when many people are feel boring, they are writing anything. Many media they don't have news on the field to provide normal news and information. They are providing fake news and
Mhm.
spreading this among the people. We had one case like this. The fake news is not just about refugees, about the normal citizens like the locals, and spreading any kind of um, uh, disinformation among them. And we had in Macedonia also one situation where one, I don't know, they called him in the contact program in the news, and he was talking about the measures of the government, and then he said that one of the cities where we have a lot of people that are with coronavirus, it's Kumanovo, is
Mhm.
because the camp of the refugees is there,
Mhm.
and that is how this coronavirus spread it in this city, which is not true. Why? Because and that nobody controls the camp and what's happening there. The police is there, UNHCR is there, IOM, uh, Legis, the Red Cross, Young Lawyer Association is there also, and we take care about their situation. We control the situation there, and we check all the time if there are newcomers, if there is anyone with symptoms or with no symptoms, but still we're prepared about this.
Mhm.
Um, uh, as I said, it was not spread by the refugees or migrants. It was spread by the locals, our people, who went to Italy or who went actually, who came back from Italy,
Mhm.
and another cities from Europe, and it didn't came with the refugees. It didn't came from Greece or from Turkey, for example, as the way how the refugees are moving forward. So until now, I haven't heard from the regular media with trusted information that any one of the refugees still has. Also, not just from media, we're in contact with other organizations who are working in Greece, Serbia, Bosnia. We follow what is happening, and we didn't heard about any case until now. Otherwise, they would report, and we would be alarmed and to know what kind of measures to take, more restrictions if it's needed, just to take care about their health. So the front is not just against um, the virus. The front is also against the fake news.
Mhm. Mm. Yeah. Okay. When, for example, so when we forget now about the coronavirus. Like, do you think it's that the topic about the migrants and is a big issue for Europe, or what do you think, for example, about the situation in Turkey when they said that they how to say let the refugees come to Europe? How your organization and you are saying this topic?
Uh, First of all, uh, we were surprised that Turkey would do that step, even if European Union didn't um, uh, didn't um, do what they said that they will do with giving the aid to Turkey. I mean, in Turkey for the refugees, because those money are not for the Turkish government, but are direct humanitarian aid to the refugees. It's not good to use the refugees in this way, but this
Mm,
was kind of last warning to European Union to take the responsibility, because you cannot stay quiet about what is happening in the wars in the Middle East or
mm,
other places in the world, and your countries cannot sell just weapons there, and then to expect that the refugees from these war zones will not come.
yeah.
Of course, they will come. Also, you cannot expect that these refugees, all of them, will stay in Turkey, and Turkey will work with them, and you will not pay for anything. Also, this is not right opinion. So that's why we there was one kind of panic in the media in North Macedonia, and we told them that there will not happen the second wave of refugees coming to the Balkans, because one, this is a general warning. Second, all these refugees who wanted to who were released from Turkey to leave went to the mainland border,
Mhm.
which was never happening before. All the refugees that came in the 2015, 16, even now, are the people who are coming through the Aegean Sea and are
Uh-huh.
crossing with boats on the islands in Greece, and then from there they're coming uh, to the mainland in Greece and then to North Macedonia and forward. So with this, if they wanted to send the refugees, they would send it on this way. But the general warning was from the mainland, from the uh, border, which is the land border between Greece and Turkey, which is the border between European Union and Turkey. And with this pressure, they just want, with this act, the Turkish government just wanted to make pressure on Europe to do what they promised.
Mhm.
Because the first wave, Turkish government didn't say we have refugees, they will go or something. They just let them, and it happened.
Mhm.
When they're giving the warnings and doing something, it means that they're just warnings, and it's not serious. The second time, if European Union doesn't do anything, that they will not speak about this. They will just let them go, and they will
Yeah.
just arrive with waves and waves, and we will not be able to stop this, because the closing of the borders and shooting on the refugees, it's not the way how you will stop them coming.
Mm. Yeah.
It's
Uh,
against the humanitarian law, it's against the Convention for Refugees, and simply European Union cannot just suspend all these human rights for the refugees just to save their borders and their countries. It's not correct.
yeah. Well, what kind of, for example, are there families or men, or are there some, for example, young people who trying to go to Germany and so on? What's the percentage, for example? You know.
The way how the people are moving or the families are moving, we have to know that um, mm, from our experience until now in these 6 years is that first are moving and going the members of the families who are healthy and have more chances to cross. And then when they cross, when they reach the destination, then they are calling the others or making family reunifications, etc. But sometimes they're going together if they cannot leave the families in Turkey or in another country, so they go together. That's why we have a bigger number of male who are coming and bigger number of young people who are coming because they're the first ones from the families that are moving and then are following their other members of the families.
Do you know about them, for example, from the wave?
Because imagine their situation, like one family stays in some camp in the border in Turkey or in the Syrian side, and then decided to collect all the money they have and to send just one, the youngest or the healthiest, to go, and then if he can make it in Europe, then he can help to the rest of the family. This is the way how it goes. Those are the reasons.
And are they able to help, for example, from the wave from 2016 or the refugees
For
who
example,
crossed?
many of them are integrated in the European societies, with many that we are in contact. They're learning the languages in France, for example, Sweden, Germany, Belgium, that I've met, and they have the documents, permissions to work. They send some money for them to survive. If the ones who were with the younger members of the families, they asked to family reunification. If they had wives and children, also they did it. So they go in legal way, proceeding towards Europe, and they are united there, and they can continue with the normal or the new life in Europe.
So that means that they need some permission. If they will get the permission, they can move forward till to the
Yes, they are.
destination,
For
then
example,
find work, flat, another one, and just try to live their lives there.
yes, in every country is like this. So you apply for asylum, and then you got the asylum, got the refugee status for 5 years or 10 years, and then you ask with the authorities if you can reunite with your family, and this is by the humanitarian law they have to follow, and they reunite you with your family. You can call them, and they're coming legally with provided visa and the documents and everything.
Hmm. And the state should or can the state, for example, say no, that we, for example, we have enough refugees from other countries, we don't want another people?
This is happening, but look, we have to know that in Europe we have um, different situation. We have countries that are following the European values and human rights, and the countries, even if they're part of European Union, are not following the human rights and European Convention for Refugees and these European values. So they don't receive the first ones, and that's why even the refugees knows, even that's why they don't stay in the Balkan countries, they don't stay in the Eastern European countries, they go to the developing countries of the West and North Europe. It's not just because of the living standard, it's about the human rights that these countries and the rule of law that these countries are providing. This is very important for them. This would be important for me if I would decide something like this. So this is the way how it works.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so maybe one of the last question, how we can, for example, help, I don't know, as a as a normal people. For example, as a company, when, for example, I have some, I don't know, company with real estates or some startup, if I can help some way the people, it shouldn't be refugees, it can be maybe, for example, your local people too. I don't know the situation now.
Yeah, I didn't understand the questions.
Yeah,
The question.
maybe what if we can, okay, so first part, what we can do as a people, like for example me or everybody else, if we want to help the refugees, for example, or the young people who wants to live new life, if I can help as a person, and if I can help some another way, for example, as a company.
Okay. As individuals, we can always use some of our time to volunteer in some of the camps or asylum centers, to meet the people there and to help on their integration, even to take them outside with you and to try to teach them your language and to teach them about how the things are functioning in the country, that the markets are open like this, you can park there, you should follow this, if you need a document you go there. This kind of normal usual things is very important to learn from the locals. This is how they will learn the language, the custom, the culture, the tradition, the way of living in this place, and they can be easily integrated in the society, which is very important for them, but also important for the local communities not to have a problem with um, people who have a little bit or xenophobia in themselves, and they would see them in different way if they're not integrated well. Also, very important thing. So to be their friends is the best what we can do for them. Also, the companies or the people that are making or want to start startups, this is also very important for them to find a job. First, when you became their friend, then you see their talent, education, and what they can do, and then it's much easier to give them, to offer them some job and to see what they can do and contribute to this, to the society, for the company and for themselves or their families where they live.
Mm-hmm. So
Because this is the best way. If we want to have a peaceful society, we have to make good integration, and the good integration goes with good relations with the refugees and migrants that are living in our societies.
mm-hmm. Yeah, yes, I think it can be prosperous for both. And maybe do you think that, or for example, in our country, media is telling that that there is some problems with them, but I don't think it's true. But the campaigns and everything. So maybe some citizens in our country think that that they are not good for our society and so on. But for example, when I have some startup, can I so I can help like everybody else who needs to help. I it's not needed to for example how to say divide who is not a refugee, who is, and or how to say uh, just if I can help, I can. So there is in spite of my opinions, there aren't any strict law or something that can how to say stop me to help.
Well, this depends from the wish. If you wish, then you can do it. If you don't, then you will never work with them, or you will never be interested about this topic. But if you're interested, then you need to have the best the best way how to do it, how to help them, how to approach to them, and how to make it the best for yourself, your company, and your society, and also for the best for them.
Hmm. Okay. Um, can I maybe or and and this is maybe, I don't know if it's related, but they are they trying, for example, to make up some new businesses for themselves and their families, or I mean, for example, if they try to enter, I would say, make some entrepreneurship here, or is it possible to, for example, build a business like a refugee in a European country? Okay.
I couldn't hear you. I had a problem with the
Yeah.
internet. Can you repeat, please?
Yeah. If it's possible for the refugees to, for example, start some business here in Europe.
This depends from the local laws. For most of these people, they can, because they have programs from some foundations, associations, and programs from the government that helps the startups. And in that moment, after a couple of months, when they will receive documents for legal stay, they will receive also situation. They will receive how to say, the chance to apply same as are applying the locals, and they can be part of these programs, and they can open. They have opened a lot of businesses in across Europe, and they are working. Especially one of the most important thing is in the tourism and in the food, the restaurant business that they're doing. But also we have to know that there are a lot of people who are very good, who are coming from the Indian subcontinent, that they are very good in the IT sector. And also many of them that were coming from Syria or Iraq were good in trade, or being engineers or doctors.
Yeah.
I've just 3 days ago I read about that Germany is asking the doctors among the refugees to help, so they give them permission to work, because they don't have enough medical personnel to work in the hospital because of this coronavirus. This is a very good chance for them to continue and to do something good, to have a faster way of permission for work, and also to be part of the system.
Yeah. So it sounds
So
great.
depends from the countries. As I said, some of our countries, like in Bulgaria, after 3 months they can take permission for work, and they can, if they want, they can work. In Macedonia is like 6 months, but in Macedonia we have a problem. The Ministry of Interior is not providing them with personal number, and without personal number we cannot employ them, even if they have. So this is kind of conflict between two laws, the law for work and law for asylum. And the Ministry of Interior doesn't want to change this. They're just saying like, for 50, 60 people, we don't want to change it. But this is very important. For example, in Skopje, we don't have Arabic restaurants. We don't have African restaurant, Afghani restaurant, or whatever. We have just Turkish, local, Italian, Chinese, blah, blah. But we don't have this kind of cuisine that is also very interesting for us. Why not to
Yeah.
give them a chance to open this kind of restaurants and to make the city richer with flavors, with different tastes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. How about the people in Macedonia and Skopje? I don't know.
Macedonia is ethnically how to say, multi-ethnical country and multi-confessional country, which means that we have Macedonians, Albanians, Bosnian, Serbian, Turkish, Roma, Vla, and different others, and they all have their cultural rights, language rights, we have most of the people are Orthodox Christians, but then the second largest community is the Islamic, and the Muslims are like more than 40% in the country. And then we have the others, which gives to the society very easy, how to say, um, it doesn't, when it's not ethnically clean, then you cannot notice too much the difference.
Mm.
So when you have the refugees coming from different areas with different colors, different beliefs or languages, it doesn't matter because you already have different colors, different religions, different languages, and it's not that much that bothers the people, except the right-wing parties that in 2017 in the local elections they based their campaign on this fake news that the European Union will bring 100,000 or 200,000 refugees in Macedonia to change the demography here. And what
Uh-huh.
happened? Most of the people didn't trust them because it was not true, because
Mm-hmm.
they saw that 1 million people passed in 2015 and 16, and nobody stayed, just a few of them, and they know that even our locals, young people, are moving towards Europe. They finish their education here and they go to Europe to find better place for
Yeah.
living and working. They understand the refugees, and the right wing lost the elections. All the 80 municipalities, from 80 municipalities, they won only 4, which means that this kind of xenophobical rhetorics cannot function here, and should not function nowhere
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah. That's a great conclusion
Yes.
about this interview.